Should you consider the Deebot T20 Omni robot vacuum? It's a high-end mopping robot vacuum, and it's actually one of the best I've tested. Ecovacs sent me the Deebot T20 for review, so let's start with the positives. Now, this is the best mopping robot vacuum I've tested so far, and it's actually the first vacuum with hot water mop washing. So that means after you've cleaned your floor, the base station cleans up the dual mops with water that's 131 degrees Fahrenheit or 55 Celsius. Now, compared with using just cold water to clean the mop pads, it actually removes stains from the mop pads much better, as you can see in this picture. Now, that also means it removes odors, but when you're cleaning your floor with a clean mop every time, you're not transferring the stains back to your floor. It's got these two rotating pads, and they actually keep some of the heat in them when you're mopping, which helps boost getting the dirt off your floors. It's also got an internal water tank, which helps keep the mops wet. Now, the T20 actually uses more water than any other robot vacuum I've tested, and that comes with some positives and some minuses, and we'll get to that in a minute. And I find that these dual mopping pads are actually much better at getting the dirt off your floor than a mop with a vibrating pad. It's just a better system. It's kind of how you would do it manually. So what about carpets? So when it detects a carpet, the mop will lift up 9 millimeters. That's about 3/8 of an inch, and the pads stop spinning. And also the suction automatically increases when it finds a carpet. So with the app, you can also have it mop your floor before vacuuming or mop your floor after vacuuming. That way you'll avoid cross-contamination of wet dirt and dry dirt. You've got these two mopping pads, and you've also got two side brushes, and they help channel the dirt into the central rubber brush. You see, having brushes on each side helps prevent dirt getting kicked away from the vacuum and back into your room, like some other vacuums I've tested. It also means it can clean your baseboards in your house more quickly because it doesn't have to turn around. It has 6,000 pascals of suction, which is definitely on the higher end for a robot vacuum. But we need to see how the T20 performs in our standard real-world tests. And if you're enjoying this video, just caress the like button ever so gently. We dumped 20 grams of sand on our carpet, and we set the T20 to the highest suction, and then we measured how much it would pick up. And we got 70% of the sand off the carpet. We also performed the same test on hardwood, and it picked up about 90% of the sand. Now, this is a pretty difficult test, and it illuminates how effectively all the components of a robot vacuum work together to pick up dust and dirt. And actually, this did pretty well for a robot. It was near the high end of all the robots that we've tested. Now, we only tested this without the mop running. I think next time I'm gonna run this with the mop running, and I think that's actually gonna improve the overall performance and pickup. Now, a lot of you have pets like me, and I think that's actually one of the main reasons to consider a robot vacuum. We put these tufts of dog hair and cat hair together on the floor, and they're actually kind of big clumps. At first, the vacuum avoided them because the obstacle avoidance system detected them. But then I went into the app, I made a change in the setting to make it less sensitive, and it actually worked fine. You can see after the pet hair, it did a pretty good job. There's a little bit of tangles right here, but if you want to take it out and clean it, it's pretty easy. You just take this out like this, and you can do your cleaning. For some reason, my cats were less interested in the T20 than other robot vacuums. Do you know why? Let me know down below. It's got a built-in voice command that works pretty well if you don't have your phone handy. Okay, Eco.
I'm here.
Start cleaning. So there's a lot of great things about the T20, but now we need to cover the bad, because that's in keeping with the title of the video. Now, honestly, there's really not much bad here at all, but there are some things that aren't absolutely top-notch about it. The T20 has pretty good obstacle avoidance in most cases. I'd say it's pretty average for this class. Most high-end robots have moved away from using cameras in their system due to privacy issues, and so the T20 uses LiDAR, which is a laser scanning system, and it actually works really well for larger objects like shoes and booklets. But as I mentioned before, it had a little trouble with big fuzzy cat hair, and it didn't like this fuzzy cat toy too much. It couldn't really see it that well, and it does an average to better than average job with cords. It avoided the cord first until it didn't. But right now in the world of robot vacuums, cords are a problem for pretty much every manufacturer. Now, the Deebot X2, which is above the T20, it's a newer model, it has a more advanced system, and they say it is better at avoiding cords. I'll test that soon. The app has a lot of functionality, and it's quite powerful. First of all, you can do mapping of different floors. So I've got 3 different floors set up here, so that's kind of nice. The next thing that you can do is you can set your cleaning preference. So you can have it vacuum only, mop only, or mop and vacuum, and you can set the suction power all the way from quiet all the way to maximum suction. And you can even have it mop your floor twice. And you can of course set it to go to a custom area and go like this. Of course, you can set up no-go zones as well. Overall, it is fairly functional. You can even set up how wet you want your mop pad to be, anywhere from low, medium, and normal, and you can tell it to go back to the docking station and clean the mop anywhere from 6 minutes to 15 minutes. And it has different obstacle avoidance settings as well, so for better performance or for wider coverage, or you can turn it off completely. So it works pretty well, but it is just not quite as smooth and not as good as some of the competitors. Now, as I mentioned before, the T20 uses a lot of water, and I think that's really great because it's gonna make mopping your house, your floors, definitely more effective than most other robot vacuums. But if you have a multi-floor house, the robot's gonna need to head back to the dock every 6 to 15 minutes. And so if you're putting it, let's say, on the upper floor and you got your robot vacuum on the lower floor, you're gonna have to go and attend to it and move it back manually every 6 to 15 minutes. So it's not perfect. But now what about the ugly? Well, the vacuum looks pretty sleek, but what about the base station? Man, it is pretty big, and I don't think it really enhances the look of the room, so my suggestion is go hide it in a bathroom. There's another video on screen I know you're going to love. Thanks for nerding out with us today.
Eco love vacuum nerds.